Welcome to Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Erin Viner.
In our top story, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu condemned 2 consecutive days of errant fire from Syria as an unacceptable breach of sovereignty, and he reiterated that no such attacks will be tolerated. The statement came after at least 10 shells fired from Syrian territory slammed into the Golan Heights. The Israeli Air Force retaliated with targeted strikes on military installations belonging to the regime of President Bashar al-Assad that included machine gun positions and an army tank preparing to fire more projectiles. Fighting in the area between loyalist forces and hardline Islamist factions has been fierce in recent weeks. The Israeli premier also underscored a specific warning to Iran. Netanyahu administration made it clear that it will take any action necessary to prevent Tehran from establishing a military presence in Syria and to stop transfer of advanced weaponry to Hezbollah terrorists through the war-shattered Arab Republic.
Meanwhile, Hezbollah is warning that any future war between Syria and/or Lebanon against Israel could draw thousands of Islamist combatants from other countries such as Iran, Iraq, and Yemen. Many Iranian-backed Shiite militias from those nations are already fighting in Syria on behalf of the Assad government. The latest threats against Israel were delivered in a televised address by terror boss Saeed Hassan Nasrallah, who boasted that his group's arsenal of missiles can reach any military or civilian center that it targets. Israeli defense officials responded that the Jewish state would utilize all of its military strength from the start of any new war with the terrorists.
In related news, Jerusalem has sent a strong letter of protest to the United Nations against the increased presence of Hezbollah just over Israel's northern border. The document contains several photos of the vast network of new command facilities the Lebanon-based Shiite terror group has set up over the past year. It includes 15 new lookout posts, operations rooms, arms caches, and increased troop deployment. All of the activity is in flagrant violation of Security Council Resolution 1701 that ended the last war between the two sides in 2006. Israeli military intelligence chief Herzl Halevi called on the UN interim peacekeeping force in Lebanon to stop turning a blind eye to Hezbollah's dangerous flouting of the agreement, which forbids any armed groups from operating south of Lebanon's Litani River, 18 miles away from Israel.
Iranian state media is reporting that millions of people turned out for nationwide rallies to mark Al-Quds Day, which is Arabic for Jerusalem. The annual event was declared by Iran's 1979 Islamic Revolution founder, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, and is held on the last Friday of the Muslim fasting month of Ramadan. Demonstrators chanted "Death to Israel" and "Death to America" as they burned flags, effigies, and posters of the two nations' leaders. Opposition to Israel is a cornerstone of belief for the rogue Islamist Republic, which is also the world's biggest state sponsor of terrorism.
There are serious new allegations that the Palestinian Authority is using the International Red Cross to make payments to terrorists jailed in Israel. The Palestinian Media Watch Monitoring Group is reporting that the practice is detailed in regulations issued by the PA Ministry of Prisoners Affairs in 2010. Clause 18 of that directive explicitly states that Red Cross officials should deliver the specific forms for the prisoners' signatures required to determine eligibility for the blood money. Jerusalem has long charged Ramallah with openly encouraging the further murder of Israelis by the financial rewards it shells out to convicted terrorists.
An 8-year-old Palestinian boy came to the Jewish Sumerian town of Itamar to beg for help this past week, claiming that he was being mistreated at home. Israeli soldiers called to the scene said that the child was covered in signs of harsh physical abuse and that he may have also been mentally impaired. The boy was identified as Bashar Abd al-Ghazal of the nearby village of Beit Furik by Palestinian media, which falsely reported that he'd been kidnapped by Jews. The Israeli soldiers gave the child food, water, and grape juice before he was handed back over to the PA security services in accordance with the law. An army spokesperson said that none of Israel's requests for information about the current whereabouts or welfare of the abused child have been answered.
U.S. Ambassador Nikki Haley is calling on the UN Security Council to immediately address threats posed by the Hamas terrorist leaders of Gaza. The American diplomat denounced the Islamist group as a dangerous actor bent on the destruction of everything in its path without concern for Israeli lives or even its own people. Haley demanded the UN drop its longtime bias against the Jewish state and instead use all the means at its disposal to counter Hamas.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu presided over the opening of Cyber Week 2017 at Tel Aviv University, where he pointed out that nations seeking to advance their own technology sectors now turn to the Jewish state for help. The address came amid an announcement from U.S. Homeland Security Advisor Thomas Bossert that his agency, the FBI, and the State Department are all seeking cooperation from their counterparts in Israel to develop new strategies to thwart cyber attacks against critical infrastructure. These developments also coincide with the release of this year's Global Innovation Index, which found that Israel now ranks 17th overall in the group of high-income countries. The placement reflects a rise of 4 slots higher than Israel's standing since just last year. The Jewish state also topped the North Africa and Western Asia categories for the 7th consecutive year.
The Biblical Zoo in Jerusalem has just inaugurated the city's first aquarium, which will now be home to hundreds of species of fish from the Mediterranean and Red Seas. The $284 million, 23,000 square foot structure took 8 years to complete. 33 different tanks feature a diverse range of occupants, including stingrays, clownfish, sea urchins, and sharks. In addition to becoming a popular attraction for visitors, one of the aquarium's main objectives is to help raise public awareness for the preservation of marine habitats. So far, only the media have been allowed in for an advanced sneak peek, but the spectacular facility will be open to the general public in a few weeks' time.
Some very lucky children in Israel have just made the remarkable discovery of a 900-year-old collection of women's jewelry dating back to Roman times. Rings, bracelets, and earrings made from silver and bronze were unearthed during an excavation of the Torah Hill Crusader Fortress in the central city of Modain. The stunning treasures were located in an ancient kitchen among clay ovens, a table, pottery shards of cooking pots, and even the remains of long-ago meals such as olive pits and charred grape pits. Some experts speculate that the valuables went missing after being taken off ahead of food preparation. About 2,500 4th to 12th graders are volunteering at the dig, which is being sponsored as an educational and cultural opportunity to find the fascinating evidence left behind by previous residents of the area over the generations.
Write these words down, because they are the terms of the covenant I have made with you and with Israel.
Tens of thousands of Bible-believing Christians are learning the language of the Bible. Gain a deeper understanding of the Scripture. Discover the hidden meaning of the Bible that has been lost in translation for centuries. Our dedicated staff of teachers are centered in the heart of Jerusalem to help you learn the language that was spoken by our forefathers and prophets. Join the Israel Institute of Biblical Studies online course and learn the language of the Bible today. That concludes the news portion of our show. Stay tuned for Ask the Source with Josh Reinstein.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Source. I'm your host Josh Reinstein and we're here in our studio in Jerusalem. My guest today is Justine Zwerling. She's a representative of the London Stock Exchange in Israel. Justine, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Justine, tell our viewers a little bit about what does the representative of the London Stock Exchange do in Israel?
Sure, absolutely. So we're here, we're absolutely thrilled to be here. There's a beautiful relationship between London and Israel. We have 29 listed companies that are Israeli amongst our glorious 3,000 companies, 500 of which are international companies. So in Israel, we very much believe not only in the larger companies, but scaling the incredible technological companies that are here. So we have a scaling program that's called Elite, and we have 9 fabulous companies on Elite, 2 of which are from Jerusalem, actually. Wow. So it's incredibly inspiring to be around the people with the brightest minds in Israel.
Well, they call Israel the high-tech nation. We're known for our high-tech. Is there a real interest from England, from London, in getting involved in that industry?
Absolutely. It's certainly, we understand, really the hub of the universe here. the minds and the superb technology that comes out of Israel is second to nothing. It's just fabulous.
There's been an incredible amount of investment in technology here in Israel. Recently, Intel just bought Mobileye for $15.7 billion. Does the London Stock Exchange also invest in companies, or are they more trying to list them on their stock exchange?
That's a great question. We do both because we support the companies with investment. So in our Elite Growth program, we help the companies to find investment and to find the best investors and partners that will help them scale globally. Because Israel is all about scaling. So Israelis like to, instead of walk, they run really quickly. So what we do as they're running is we bolt them into investment and partners that can support them really to launch globally.
We see a massive amount of investment coming from the United States and also from China now. There are just an unbelievable amount of money coming into Israel. Is the investment opportunities a lot slimmer now because there's so much money flowing into Israel? Or do you still see that there's a lot of different opportunities that people have not tapped yet?
I think there's a consistent, enormous amount of opportunities for investment. You have investors coming here consistently, like when I'm on the plane from London to, from Tel Aviv to London, all you can see is the investment community consistently visiting here, looking for those opportunities, looking for those unicorns all the time. It's amazing.
What does London or England in general have to offer Israeli companies? Why would they go with a London-based or the London Stock Exchange rather than the NASDAQ or the CAC in France?
London is the best place to list companies. One, because of the global pool of capital, which is absolutely enormous. So you're tapping into all the capital from all over the world. London is the financial centre of excellence. Plus we have a fabulous time zone, so we have no jet lag, and then you can access the markets to the States and Asia very, very easily.
You know, because of Brexit, London and England in general is having to renegotiate all their trade deals. It's going to be like a brand new world for economy in London. Do you see that this is going to have an impact on relations between Israel and London, not just economically, but also politically?
I think I can't answer in terms of politics, but I can certainly answer in terms of the relationships between the two countries is extremely strong. Trade and investment it's at an all-time high, and I believe it will only get closer for sure.
Recently, the pound has lost a lot of its value, and the shekel has gotten super strong against all currencies, even the U.S. dollar. Does that have does that give a psychological barrier for companies to invest money because they're getting less bang for their buck?
I think it works two ways, actually. I think always the shekel, whenever it's strong, has an impact, but the pound is obviously gaining. And it also means that it's more an attractive place because people used to say, oh, London's very expensive, when actually, you know, the listing costs and the lawyer costs and everything are very much more reasonable in terms of other exchanges. So it's a great place to come right now for business.
What's the future of relations between England and Israel? What do you see, 20 years down the road?
Gosh, I see so much amazing partnership going on between the UK and Israel. There are incredible links with healthcare, incredible links with technology, and it's almost like a fast-track path between the two countries. Politically, very, very strong relationships, and I think in terms of the investment and the international growth that will go for both nations, it's going to be fabulous. It's exciting times.
Justine, there are literally tens of millions of people watching this show. What message do you have for our viewing audience?
Come to Jerusalem. It's the most wonderful place. Meet the brightest minds in Israel. Come and see us at the London Stock Exchange. Talk to us. We're open. Our doors are open, and we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, Justine, for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. Now back to the studio.
Up next, the return to Zion with Karen Hayesod.
Hello and welcome to the Return to Zion with Karen Hayesod. I'm Eliezer Moody Sandberg, World Chairman of Keren HaYesod, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. Today, Ukrainian Jews are in great danger as they live in war-torn Ukraine. Help us fulfill biblical prophecy by bringing our brothers and sisters back home to safety. God bless you from Jerusalem.
I will even gather you from the peoples and assemble you out of the countries where ye have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel. Ezekiel 11:17.
In eastern Ukraine, over the past 2.5 years, a brutal and cruel war has been raging. A savage war without clearly defined front lines. Against this backdrop, the Jews of eastern Ukraine have been in peril. The donors of Keren HaYesod from around the world have heeded the call and have come to their rescue. Our supporters realize that the window of opportunity to rescue these Jews may slam shut.
Lift up your eyes and look around. All your children gather and come to you. Isaiah 49:18.
We are here to support, all of us, the Jewish people who return to their homeland, to support each other.
These Jews must be extracted from burning towns, from raging battles, and from the chaos of eastern Ukraine, and brought back to their ancient homeland.
Я решила приехать в Израиль, потому что я последние полгода почувствовала свои еврейские корни и поняла, что я не могу больше находиться в своей стране, и я должна вернуться на свою историческую родину.
Корни говорят сами о себе, было рвение, плюс хотелось, чтобы сын узнал.
Воссоединение с семьей, наша семья здесь сейчас, папа, мама, сестра.
Большое волнение, но как-то у меня сразу, как мы прилетели, какое-то ощущение было правильности нашего выбора.
Для будущего нашего ребенка в первую очередь.
Keren HaYesod's friends around the world have been stepping forward to enable this life-saving effort to continue. Many thousands have already been rescued, yet many thousands still remain in eastern Ukraine. They must be brought out now. Through Keren HaYesod and our partner, the Jewish Agency, our dreams, our prayers, and our hopes are coming together in fulfillment of the biblical prophecy that foresaw the return of the Jewish people to their ancestral homeland.
Behold, I will bring them from the north country and gather them from the uttermost parts of the earth. A great company shall they return hither. Jeremiah 31:7.
The situation is highly unpredictable, and we must not miss this chance to help. We cannot let them down. All possible resources must be mobilized in this effort. You too can play your part in this crucial mission as Keren HaYesod provides these Jews in distress with new lives in Israel. Join us. We must not forsake them in their time of need.
Let's bless Israel together.
To donate and get information, call us at 1-800-505-1665 or visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
The Iron Dome anti-ballistic missile system is unique in military history. It is the only anti-ballistic missile system that has proven effective in combat. And not only effective in combat, but 95% effective. And the Iron Dome is also a miracle of Israeli technology. It went from drawing board to active and successful deployment within a mere 4 years, a world record. Now that type of development and deployment would not have been possible without the generosity of the American people, of the White House, and particularly of the Congress. As Israel's ambassador to the United States, I would always say that behind Israel's Iron Dome stands a marble dome. The marble dome on Capitol Hill of Congress, which gave tens of millions of dollars to enable us to further develop the system, to produce the interceptors and the batteries needed to defend Israel from tens of thousands of rockets that are aimed at our neighborhoods, homes, and schools. But Israel faces a threat not only from rockets, but also from lawsuits. It's called lawfare. As our enemies are firing those rockets, they want us to reply and respond in a way that will kill numbers of civilians on their own side. So while the enemy can't get at our civilians, we cannot enable them to shoot at us indefinitely. We will shoot back. And the enemy will hide behind those civilians, and that will create what our enemies call disproportionality. No Israelis getting killed on our side, a lot of the enemy's civilians getting killed on their side. The enemy wants that. And then they want to use that disproportionality to sue us in international courts of justice, to deny us the right to defend ourselves, and ultimately to deny us the right to exist as an independent Jewish state. Therefore, we need not just a military Iron Dome, we need a legal and diplomatic Iron Dome. That kind of Iron Dome can be given to us by the United States of America through legislation by letting the world know that if any organization or any country tries to boycott, sanction, or sue Israel for war crimes in international courts, that country will be vulnerable to American retribution, which will be very punishing indeed.
Lift up your eyes and look around. All your children gather and come to you. The biblical prophecy is unfolding right before our very eyes. The people of Israel are returning to the Promised Land after 2,000 years of exile. But millions of Jews are still longing to come home. Anti-Semitism threatens many of the Jews. We must rescue them before the window of opportunity slams shut. Bless Israel by supporting Keren HaYesod United Israel Appeal, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. Together, we can fulfill the prophecy of the Bible.
Let us bless Israel together.
To donate and get information, call us at 1-800-505-1665 or visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
Please stay tuned for the ICEJ report from the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem.
Once in a lifetime, there comes a moment that not only changes a nation, it changes the world. It was the realization of a 2,000-year-old dream that altered the course of history. During the turmoil of the Six-Day War, an opportunity emerged to reunify the single most important city in the world. And on June 7, 1967, the dream became a reality.
השעה 10:20, ה-7 ביוני, ברגע זה אנו עוברים את שער האריות. הר הבית בימינו, כאן תמיד, הר הבית בימינו.
The Feast of Tabernacles 2017 marks 50 years since a divided city became united again.
You don't want to miss this historic and prophetic opportunity to celebrate with us 50 years of a reunited Jerusalem. Come to Jerusalem on the 6th to the 11th of October 2017 and celebrate with us the Feast of Tabernacles right here in the city of God.
Register today at feast.icej.org to receive an early bird discount.
The Feast of Tabernacles, presented by the ICEJ, unites the world in a celebration of God and His promises for Israel. This work would not be possible without the help of our amazing volunteers who have their own story to tell about God's faithfulness in their lives.
My name is Victoria. I come from the Philippines. I first heard of ICEJ from a friend of mine from church who came here as a volunteer last year. I went into ICEJ.org and went into the website. I was just reading around and I was looking at all the efforts, the Isaiah 62 prayer. So I signed up for that. And then I saw the Aliyah projects. So I said, okay, I don't have a lot, but I will give what I have. And I said, anyway, Lord, I know no one can outgive you. So I'll just do this even if I could not afford it.
Victoria stepped out in faith and became a financial and prayer partner with the ICEJ.
When you partner with ICEJ, on Christmas, they will send you a card. And on that card was the Wailing Wall with the stars. When I first got it, I said, wow, it's the wall. I'm gonna go there by faith.
As her passion for Israel grew, she felt the call to come to Israel to volunteer at the Feast of Tabernacles.
When the registration opened for the volunteers, I was the first. I signed up right away and I absolutely had no money. But I said, never mind, by faith, Jesus will provide.
And by faith, Victoria made it to Jerusalem as a volunteer with the ICEJ.
I cannot say how much it has blessed my life. God just paved the way for me to be here. Not only the monetary provision, but the time to take off from work. Everything is just in place. And I said, Lord, thank you for just opening all the doors. A group of us went to the wall, and I was just thinking, it looks the same, just like the picture. Normally, you would want to just ask for everything, but at that moment, I could not ask. I guess I just wanted to enjoy the presence, just feel God's love from just looking at a picture, and then now it's reality. It's like I could not believe that I was there, and I could not believe I walked 10,000 steps to get there. I always, even before I left, I share with the church that I want to come back next year. Before I left, I said, all of you, you have the desire to come, because when you do desire, God provides.
That's all for this edition of Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Erin Viner, reporting from our studio in Jerusalem. Please join us again next week for all of your Israel updates.